Hey everyone, welcome back to my C++ tutorial series. In today's video, we'll be exploring the switch statements in C++. This control structure is really useful when you want to check a variable against multiple values without having to write tons of if-else statements. So let's dive in. The switch statement allows us to evaluate a variable and execute different code blocks based on its value. It's a cleaner way to write conditional logic when you have multiple cases to check. The break keyword is important because it prevents the code from falling through to the next case. If no case matches, the default block will be executed. Let's start with a basic example using the switch to print out the day of the week based on the number input. We'll start by declaring our variable day, and then we'll prompt a user to input the number, enter a number. We'll give them a criteria that's 1 to 7 for the day of the week. So basically these numbers will represent the day of the week. For example, if it's Monday, that will be 1. So after prompting the user, we should pick the user's input and store it in our variable. That's how it's done in C++. Store it in day. We'll come down here and start our switch statement. Open parentheses, we'll have our expression, which is our variable day. Then we'll open curly braces, and then we'll start our cases in the curly braces here. So we'll start with the first case, case 1. We'll print out Monday. If the case is 1, that would mean it's Monday. And then we'll have our break that will prevent the code from falling through to the next case. Let's indent this. Then right, so we'll have our case, our second case here. We'll paste and make this Tuesday. We'll have our third case. This will be Wednesday. Case 4, that'll be Thursday. Case 5, that will be Friday. Case 6, Saturday. Then lastly, case 7, which will represent Sunday. All right, so after our cases, we should have a default that will be executed if no case matches the above. So that's default. We'll print out here invalid input. Sorry, input right there. As you can see, the program asks the user to input a number between 1 and 7, and based on that, it prints out the corresponding day of the week. If the input doesn't match any of the cases, it prints out invalid input. So let's run it and see. We'll come up here, we'll build and run. So let's have our case as 2 for starters. That will be Tuesday, correct. Let's have our other input as 8. That will be invalid. Let's have 5. That will be Friday. So now let's move on to something more interesting. A simple calculator using the switch statement. We'll start by removing this hello world. We'll declare our first variable with data type character to be operation. that one will store our arithmetic symbols, and then we'll have a float that will store our two numbers, num1, 2. So we'll come here and prompt our user, enter the operator, and then we'll give them the criteria that we want: the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And then we'll use cin to read the user's input and store it in operation, because first one we are reading the operator, and then we'll prompt them to enter the first number, we'll use cin to store that in num1, sorry, num1, and let me just copy paste this number 2. Let's make this second, then this will be num2. So now let's come down here, we'll start our switch statement. Open parentheses, we'll use operation, our variable, as our expression. Open curly braces, our first case, we'll use single quotes. We'll use single quotes, and then we'll have our symbol for our addition. That will be our first case, then colons, then we'll print what? We'll print out num1 concatenate plus num2. Here we're just referencing, then we'll have equal to num1 plus num2. So this will print a sentence like output on the terminal, and then we'll have our break keyword so that it doesn't fall through to the next case. Let's just indent this. So for the division case, we'll have to check if the number is not 0. So to do that, we'll use an if statement to check if num2 is not equal to 0. So if it's not equal to 0, we'll perform the operation. Yes, we'll have this at the end. Let's change this to division. That's division right there. And then if it is 0, or else here, then we'll print out to the user telling them cannot divide by 0. There's a typo here, I think there's a spelling error. Then we'll terminate. All right, after that we'll have a breakdown here and terminate, and then we'll have our default case that will just print out So in this example, we allow the user to choose an arithmetic operator and input two numbers. Based on the operator they choose, the switch statement performs the correct operation. Let's build and run. We'll have our operator addition, and then we'll have 5, that will give us 10. So let's try another example here. We'll have a subtraction of, say, 10, then a 5, that will be 5. And if we try to have, let's say, division, you have 5 and then a 0, it should give us cannot divide by 0. So our program works very well. Now let's explore something a little bit more advanced. C++ allows fall through between cases if you don't use the break statement. Let's look at an example. We're going to have a grading system. I'll just type it out first and then I'll explain. Here we started by declaring our variable score, prompting the user to enter their score and then reading it. Notice that if the score is between 90 and 100, both cases 10 and 9 will be of grade A because there is no break between them. That is what we call a fall through. The switch statement is a great tool for handling multiple conditions. As we saw, it can make your code more readable and efficient than a series of if-else statements. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more C++ tutorials. Thank you for watching.